All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. It's a good morning. It's a good morning. It's a good morning to be woke, right? We're gonna have a real different kind of conversation this morning because we're gonna see how politics has started to cross swords with the church. See, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and wickedness in high places. Ain't that scripture? We fight not against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places. Because surely America has become Babylon, the cage of every unclean bird and hateful spirit. But what we're going to talk about today is how the Democratic Party has infiltrated the black church. The First Amendment upholds the separation of church and state. So why do you have these Democrats running up into the black church with their blasphemies, corrupting the mind of the so-called leaders in the black community? So we're going to start with Fannie Willis down there in Georgia, but she had the nerve to run up in church on a Sunday and talk about how she was being targeted because she was a woman and she's black and don't nobody want to listen to her. She don't realize and don't want to accept, as a public official, we expect you to take a moral high road. That's what we expect of somebody we vote in the office. We don't expect you to do what you did. And I'm sure everybody knows about that. Let me start my video because it's early in the morning. I know people getting to go to work. We're going to start with Fannie Willis and we're going to go to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. Let's check out Fannie before we go any deeper.
Perfect child. I'm a little confused. I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do. Paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one. I hired one white woman, a good personal friend and great lawyer. It's a superstar, I'll tell you. I hired one white man, brilliant, my friend, and a great lawyer. And I hired one black man, another superstar, a great friend, and a great lawyer. Oh Lord, they gonna be mad when I call them out on this nonsense. First thing.
We're going to stop there because she called on the Lord. Now, you sitting up there calling on the Lord, and you already know that you had an affair with this man. We don't have to say allegedly at this point because she's already admitted to it. But this is before she admitted to it. She was up in the church saying all this, knowing that if she actually had to answer that subpoena, she was going to tell them that she was sleeping with that lady's husband, which is a black lady. So I don't know how it's the race card. Flying all over, taking all these fancy trips. The nerve of her to be up in the black church. The nerve of the black church to allow her in there. A nerve of you cotton picking, chicken eating, allegedly pastors, to be letting her come in there and justify adultery and fornication across your rostrum as a politician on a church Sunday. Let's continue.
They say, oh, she gonna play the race card now. But no, God, isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question one? Isn't it them playing the race card when they constantly think, I need someone from some other jurisdiction in some other state to tell me how to do a job I've been doing almost 30 years. God, why don't they look at themselves and just be honest? I mean, can't they keep it 100 with themselves?
She said, can't they keep it 100? She in the church on a church Sunday already knowing full well what she's done. She knows. She's fighting a subpoena, and then she finally ends up going there and say, yeah, you got me. We was having relations. Reminds you of Bill Clinton, another Democrat. I did not have sex with that woman. I just got some dome. Another one. Blasphemous.
Why am I so surprised that a diverse team that I assembled, your child, can accomplish extraordinary things? God, wasn't it them that attacked this lawyer of impeccable credentials? The black man I chose has been a judge more than 10 years, run a private practice more than 20, represented businesses in civil litigation. I ain't done, y'all. Served as a prosecutor, a criminal defense lawyer, special assistant attorney general, won Chief Justice Robert Benham Award from the State Bar of Georgia. You know, they ain't just giving this to black men.
She said, I know y'all heard her. She said, the black man I found. How you find that lady husband? You found somebody husband? All up in the church, and they just a clapping. They just a clapping. You know, y'all remember the movie Black Panther? They say, is this your leader? Are these your leaders?
How come God, the same black man I hired, was acceptable when a Republican in another county hired him and paid him twice the rate? Oh, y'all ain't hear me.
No, we hear you. He wasn't acceptable because they wasn't banging him. You banging him. You banging them and giving them $100 more than you giving everybody else in the office while you prosecute Trump, YSN Nelly, YSN Lucci. You crossing all boundaries with your RICO litigation. Yeah, yeah. You want to prosecute Trump. You want to prosecute Young Thug. You want to prosecute YSN Lucci. You want to prosecute anybody. And then get finessed by that hack third-rate lawyer. For real. Traffic court. I wouldn't want him to defend me in traffic court. And he prosecuting the president, the ex-president. Or I don't know. The insanity of it all. Let's continue.
In another county, the elected official has the authority to pay him twice the rate. Why is the white male Republican judge?
See, that was a sleight of words. She said he has the capacity to pay him twice the money. But he's not even going to pay him a portion because he knows he's not qualified. You see the double talk all up in the church.
Good enough, but the black female Democrats not. Now please hear me. I'm not criticizing his judgment. The people of his county elected him to make that decision. In fact, let me put it on the record. He's someone I respect because he was always willing to hire diversity. He was just looking for quality. I don't care political party. They care about it. My only question is, why is it questioned me? Lord, now I want to be clear. All three.
See, I got a problem with her keep calling on the Lord while she in church. Knowing, think about this Democrat. She's knowing right now that everything she's accused of, she did. She's accused of paying her lover more than anybody else in the office when he's less qualified, taking trips, and all out sleeping with that black lady husband. How is this the race car? Please explain to me in Detroit. How is this the race car? That ninja wife was black. They're suing them. Alienation of affection. Man, she better stop acting like a Jezebel up in that church.
Of these special counselors are superstars. But I'm just asking God, is it that some will never see a black man as qualified, no matter his achievements? What more can one achieve? The other two have never been judges, but no one questions their.
I mean, that's a hell of an achievement for a black man. To clap the cheeks of the district attorney of a major city and get paid almost $1 million to do it, that's a hell of an achievement. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying. Lord, I'm just asking. Is it that because of the shell you chose to put me in?
Girl, bye. Now we're going
Less than a second.
We're going
That's how long it would take us.
Bear with me right now. We finna deal with Kamala and Joe Biden. Cause you remember when they was running as running mates, or do y'all want to see Joe Biden in the church first? I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm gonna show you in the church first because the church people gonna congratulate him on something he ain't even do. Watch this. Now, mind you, again, American citizens and holy people of all creeds and colors, it's supposed to be separation of church and state. That's the First Amendment. Check out Joe.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. Glad you're streaming with us. Hoping South Carolina can save him. President Biden returning to the state that catapulted his campaign back in 2020, recharging his election bid 1 week from the Iowa caucuses. He is speaking at Mother Emanuel Church there in Charleston, the site of one of the worst racist mass shootings in our country. Let's listen in.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. 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 It's going to go to my head. Please. Thank you. Jim, you know, just say one thing about.
Hold on. I know y'all heard. They said that church was the scene of one of the worst mass shootings in country history in the church. He has the nerve to go up in there and preach after black people begged him for an anti-hate bill that he couldn't do for them, that he gave to Asians.
What Jim has been talking about that confuses me about our Republican friends sometimes, the MAGA Republicans. No, I mean, I'm being sincere. Every one of the things that Jim mentioned saves the American taxpayer billions of dollars. You realize if you have a prescription drug from any major drug company in America, I can take you to Toronto, Canada, London, Rome, any major capital in the world and buy the same exact drug for sometimes half the price that you get here. Look, folks, when the federal government through Medicare doesn't have to pay out as much money. It means taxpayers pay less money because you fund the federal government. You fund Medicare. Go down every one of these things. It always confused me. They talk about being rational. It's just about excess profit. But at any rate, I don't want to get off on that. I'll get carried away. I don't quite get these guys. Thank you, Jim, for your friendship and above all for your fellowship. And Bishop Green, thank you for those kind words. I mean that sincerely. And thank you, Reverend Manning, for the shepherd of it.
Let's stop this joker right here. He in the church on a Sunday, just like how Fanny was. Now, he wanted to give y'all tools to smoke that thing. Now, he's selling. We're going to give y'all free access to pills. Y'all ain't going to have to get y'all pills. Y'all going to be able to bust a script. If you're on Medicaid, you can bust your script. You're on Social Security, you can bust your script. You can have your pills for everything. Diabetes, high blood pressure, can't sleep, Tylenol foes. We can slide you some perks in there. We're going to give y'all some scripts and abortion. See, we're going to tie that in with the abortion. And, who's offering you anything better than that? Don't y'all want to have abortions? Don't y'all want to have access to pills? Come on. If you don't vote for that, you ain't black.
House to allow me to stand in this podium once again. And all the faithful of Mother Emanuel, and distinguished guests. I was talking downstairs. I've spent more time in the Bethel AME Church in Wilmington, Delaware, than I have than most.
Hey, y'all see that Freudian slip? I was talking downstairs. Think about that.
People I know, black or white, have spent in that church. Because that's why I started. No, I'm serious. I started a civil rights movement. I used to go to 7:30 mass, then I go to 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock service was the reverend who was then running the church is now the bishop. She's a bishop, and I'm told your bishop had been there before in South Africa. And that's where he is right now. The point is that I've been blessed to worship here before as well. It's at moments of joy and great joy, and moments of great pain, moments of unbearable loss. On June 17, 2015, the beautiful souls, five survivors, invited a stranger into this church to pray with them. The word of God was pierced by bullets of hate, of rage, propelled by not just gunpowder, but by a poison that's for too long haunted this nation. What is that poison? White supremacy. Oh, it is.
We're going to stop there. Pause. We're going to see what Kamala Harris said about him when he was running. Since he on the end there. Let's go. Let's run. We taking care of all family business today.
Joe Biden recently signed off on June.
All right. Let's go with Joe, Jim Crow Joe. Y'all just heard what he said at the black church, and they just was eating it up. You know what I mean? After all that violence in that church, look who they invited in there.
15th is a national holiday in the U.S. The recognition of the holiday, which commemorates the end of slavery in the U.S., has been celebrated as a major symbolic shift away from the rhetoric of the Trump era. But many have forgotten this moment during the 2019 Democratic primary.
And I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Despite insisting that she wasn't calling Biden racist, Harris was in fact accusing him of preventing black students from integrating into white schools and of being friends with openly racist politicians. So, what is Joe Biden's real record on race? Harris wasn't inaccurate in her criticism of Biden, who has a checkered history on racial justice, despite painting himself as a staunch civil rights advocate over the years. Perhaps one of the most criticized moments in Biden's past is his involvement in the creation of the notorious 1994 crime bill. People forget that the informal name for the bill was Biden's crime law. The legislation is widely criticized for being responsible for making the effects of mass incarceration in the U.S. exponentially worse. Biden was also a key architect of the devastating Iraq War. Responsibility for the war is often blamed on George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and other Republicans. But in reality, Biden played a key role as a Democrat. In the lead up to the war, Biden convened a series of Senate hearings to drum up support for the invasion on the basis of flimsy intelligence material being presented by the Republicans.
What is the threat from Iraq? Obviously, to fully answer this question will require us to have additional enclosed hearings.
Not a single anti-war voice was invited to the hearings. Biden also admits to having been civil with Democratic colleagues who were openly racist, like James Eastland, who had a long history of racist remarks, including that black Americans belonged to an inferior race, as well as the segregationist Herman Talmadge, who vigorously opposed school integration.
Governor, this means, in effect, that your state would set up a private school system. We intend to maintain separate schools in Georgia, one way or another, come what may.
Biden also developed a decades-long friendship with segregationist Strom Thurmond, who he worked with attempting to pass the Biden-Thurmond Violent Crime Control Act in 1991. Biden also spoke at his funeral.
We became good friends. I'm not sure exactly why or how it happened, Nancy. You know we did.
In the lead-up to the 2008 election, Biden was also in the spotlight for a number of comments, including referring to Barack Obama as articulate and clean, and associating Indian immigrants with Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Eleven chains.
Do these gaffes or misunderstandings, or however you would characterize them, indicate you are uncomfortable talking about race, or are people just being too sensitive?
Hold on. Let me interject this while we're going through this. While he all up in black churches and Kamala Harris and calling him on his record and all this chicanery. Donald Trump is one of the only old families in this country that never owned slaves. Always did his own work. He always did his own work. His people, and you don't like how he talk. But y'all like this. For real. Y'all like this. Y'all like this kind of audacity. This kind of disrespect. This type of blaspheme. Let's continue.
I think that I have my whole career. I got involved in public policy.
Oh, let me say this. You know how, like we getting biblical today, you know how everything Pharaoh wanted to throw on the children of Israel came back to his own house? Remember how they wanted everybody to be smoking that smoke? And now his son is the biggest smoker in smoker history. He smoked up a whole country's money.
I got involved in politics because of the civil rights movement.
Biden also has an unreliable history surrounding his own involvement in the civil rights struggle. He has at times claimed to have been deeply involved, at other times not that active, and in the lead up to the 2020 election, once again claimed to have been heavily involved. He was also caught out claiming to have been arrested trying to visit Nelson Mandela.
This day, 30 years ago, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and entered into discussions about apartheid. I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador and the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him in Robbins Island.
You now say you weren't arrested and it didn't happen in Soweto. You were at the airport in Johannesburg and you were stopped from going through the door for blacks. I guess the question is, were you confused or were you just trying to embellish a story?
Offered the chance to run with Biden in 2020, Kamala Harris's once scathing criticisms about race faded away, and the two have worked closely since winning the election.
I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. How does that transition happen? How do you go from being such a passionate opponent on such bedrock principles for you, and now you guys seem to be pals?
It was a debate.
Not everybody landed punches like you did.
Just like her wearing Chuck Taylors and pearls. Man. I hope y'all having a good morning, because this early in the morning. I'm going to put this out early in the morning. You know what I mean? For the people that subscribe to me, y'all going to like, share, and push the video. They ain't going to push it. They don't like this conversation. But I'm just saying, I'm just showing what they be saying, what they be doing. You know what I mean? I ain't adding on to this shit. You can't make this up.
No.
It was a debate.
So you don't mean it?
It was a debate. That the whole reason, literally, it was a debate. It was called a debate.
I understand.
Traveled to the debate. There were journalists there covering the debate, where there would be a debate of differences of opinion and issues.
So you didn't believe the stuff that was coming out of your mouth? You just were saying it? You didn't believe what was coming out of your mouth?
1,000% supportive of Joe Biden, and I will again do everything I can to make sure he is elected.
The Democrats may be keen to forget Biden's past, but should everyone else have to as well?
All right, let me see what day it is before I say good morning. I've been holding off on that. I've been holding off on saying good morning all morning because I don't really sure what's the day. This is Tuesday morning. This is good. We deep into it on a Tuesday because I know I was posting yesterday. Anyway, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. Peace. Keep your head on a swivel. Sign to y'all Detroit. Like, share, and subscribe.